Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Living Phase 2 Empty and Nested Venture channel. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about Gracie the Growing Nomad, and something that we found out being new RVers is buying your RV is really just the start of the expenses. And in fact, today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about 12 things that if you don't purchase these, you really can't even go camping. You know, you can't get it out, you can't enjoy that campsite that you're going to without this. So like we said, really buying the RV is just the start of the expenses. So we want to make sure you're prepared if you get an RV with these dozen things so that your very first camping adventure can be a fun and enjoyable one.
Welcome to Living Phase 2.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Nancy, and we're empty nesters striving to live life to the fullest.
And we are living that full life here at Bear Cave RV Park in Lower Michigan, and enjoying the beautiful sunshine and hopefully giving you a few hints, tips, and tricks how to make your RVing life the best it can be.
Yes, we are, friends. And like Mike said, buying your RV is just the beginning of the expenses. And I've been envisioning it like an onion. You're seeing the outer layer of the onion when you look at the RV. And then you have to peel that first layer of the onion, and which is what we're going to do today, and give you that dozen absolute, you must have it. These are the basics. So if you don't own an RV, this is going to be very helpful for you because you've got to have this dozen. Then in future videos, we'll peel that onion layer off more and more, where we show you additional things that are going to make RV life much more comfortable. And we're still peeling those onion layers off even today.
We are. And in fact, Amazon Prime Day is coming up in about a week as we're filming this right now. So we're going to endeavor to get this video out and the next video, which is the things Nancy was talking about that we've added to Gracie, so that if these are any things you want to purchase, then at least you can maybe catch it during Amazon Prime Day. Well, let's start with the first item out of this dozen, and that's insurance.
Have to have it, friends. You can't buy you don't want to buy an RV without it.
Well, and in fact, if you're going to have a motorhome, like a Class A, Class B, Class Super C, like Gracie here, you're going to be required, of course, by the Department of Motor Vehicles to have insurance, because, and it's a very strange insurance, right? It's insured both as a truck and it's insured as a house. So you're effectively getting a second house policy, and you're getting a motorhome, or you're getting a truck policy that your insurance agents, depending on who you go through, are going to blend that and do that differently as they come together. So you really got to think about that. Now, if you have a travel trailer, a pop-up, a fifth wheel, if you finance it, then chances are your finance company is going to require that you have insurance on that as well. Now, let's say you pay cash for it, you walk out the door. In most cases, you're going to have to check your state laws whether insurance is going to be required on that trailer or not. Everything from general liability to all the way up to a comprehensive package. And this is where we're going to say, talk to your insurance agent, find out what's required in your state and local municipalities for that. But even if it's not required for your travel trailer, pop-up, or fifth wheel, we highly recommend it. These are very expensive investments, and you never know what's going to happen. You know, coming down the road, there could be a wind incident, there could be a road incident, there could be a deer or anything that runs in front of you, and you don't want to lose this very expensive investment that you potentially have saved up your whole life for because of that. So that makes the first big expense you're going to have to go put together after you purchase is insurance, and that can run anywhere from a few dollars a month to a few $100s a month, depending on, even maybe $1,000 a month, depending on the size, the cost, all of that. So you got to budget for that when you're buying your first RV.
Number 2 on our list is a hose. Now, this isn't your typical garden hose, friends. This is specifically designed for RVs. This is a BPA free hose. It's safe to drink out of. We actually carry 2 of these. I've got a 25-foot one in my hands here, but we've got a 50-foot one that's attached here to the RV and that goes to the hose bib. I would certainly recommend that you get at least a 50-foot one. We have been in camping situations already, just in the short time that we've owned the RV, where the hose bib location is far from the RV campsite and you have to extend it. We've kept the additional one in our camper just in case we'd have to attach the two and we would need even a little bit longer, but don't go any shorter than a 50-foot RV camp hose. And a 50-foot RV hose is going to run you about $25.
And the number 3 item that you must have, and although this might be a little debatable, but I look at it as an absolutely must have, is a pressure regulating valve. And so what this does is this reduces the pressure coming from the the campsite system to going to your water hose. We were just at a campground the other day that had 85 PSI coming out of this faucet. Now, for those of you who don't know plumbing, let's just safe to say that's a lot. And that's way more than any RV manufacturer would ever recommend you put into the plumbing inside your RV. So what this does is take whatever's coming through here and then reduces it down, and you can see we've got this reduced down to just under 50 PSI. In fact, a lot of RV manufacturers may even suggest you keep it even 40 or under, and you simply adjust it with this little screw on the top. This is about $30 and worth every dollar of it. So don't leave home, don't go to your first camping adventure without a pressure regulator.
Yeah, you don't want to break those hose pipes or water heater inside your RV.
$30 is the cheapest insurance you're ever going to spend.
Number 4 on our list is an electrical cord. Now, Gracie came with an electrical cord. Look how big this stinker is. It is huge here. We're fortunate that she came with it, but some RVs do not come with electrical cords, and you're going to have one, friends, because you're going to want to have electricity to run that air conditioner and other things inside your RV. So talk to your dealer about what specific cord you need for your travel trailer, your fifth wheel, for your RV if it does not come with one, so you're getting the correct one that you need. The one thing we would recommend, once again, the same as with the water hose, don't go with anything less than 50 feet. Now, an electrical cord for your RV is going to run anywhere from $60 to $300. There's quite a variety that you can choose from, so take a look.
Well, the 5th thing that you're going to need before you go on that very first camping trip is your sewer hose. You brought all that water in your RV, you got to get it back out. So this is the least fun thing that most people see or think about when they come to RVing, but it is a necessary part of it. So once again with Gracie, we're very fortunate. It has a macerator. That means think of it as a poop blender, but it pushes it out. It is, but it pushes it out with pressure through this hose, and so the hose and the connector were actually all included with, when we got Gracie. But almost all other RVs, most of them do not come with that. You need to select your own sewage hose. Now there's different ones on the market. The Rhino hose is the most popular one out there. Actually, what we've done is curated an Amazon list that has all the things we've bought for Gracie, and we've added a few of these in that might be helpful for you. I would say 95% of our ones that we've bought, and you're going to see in the next video, the improvement things, but we've also thrown on a couple that we've used in a past RV that we've had, and the sewage hose is one of them, even though we don't need it today. We'd recommend at least 20 feet. I would say 40, and just like with the water hose, you never know where that connector is going to be, where you actually dump your sewage. Now here we're only about 5 feet away, so that makes it pretty easy, but you always want to make sure you get the connectors that match your RV, and you want to get a good connector that connects down here as well. I actually, just as an aside, carry a 5-pound scuba weight that I put on top of this to hold it down in the ground to put a little bit of extra weight on. Now that's not absolutely necessary, but it's just something I do. But a sewer hose is an absolute must when you have your RV.
Well, Mike just touched the poop hose. So that brings us to number 6. This is a basic one, but friends, you gotta have soap. Okay, you're touching all kinds of really, really dirty items there. Do not forget your soap. That's only a couple of dollars, but it's an absolute must-have even on your first camping trip.
Camping can be dirty. Well, especially in the hot summer like it is today, number 7 comes in, don't forget water. So most RVs will have a water tank that you can fill up, but unless you take a lot of precautions, and we do this, in fact, we'll probably do a future video of sanitizing the tank and things like that. Most water at RV sites should be potable water that's safe to drink. However, in general, we're a little overcautious, and so we always want to have a little bit safer source of water, a little bit actually better tasting source of water. And there's 2 ways to do that for your very first RV camping trip. You can buy bottled water, and that's fine. That's actually what we did on our very first camping trip. Just got a couple cases at Costco, and we were good to go. But in the long run, what we've done is we've gone to a filtered water. And so this is a Brita pitcher with replaceable filters. And we've been extremely happy with this. And in fact, we just refill our bottles with the filtered water out of the Brita. Now, Gracie does have an incoming carbon filter, so that it does a pretty good job, that keeping the smells and keeping different things out of the water. But we really, really enjoy this. So make sure on that first camping trip, again, it may seem obvious like the soap, but don't forget your water. Now that's going to run you anywhere from $3 or $4 for a case of water to about $26, $27 for a Brita filter.
And number 8 comes in with something to eat off of and something to eat with. So you're going to need some plates of some sort. I have both some paper plates in here as well as some melamine. We usually eat off the melamine, but we'll eat off the paper plates when we're packing up, getting ready to go. The melamine plates and dishes are going to run about $30 for a set, and then your paper plates just a few dollars at the store. You're also going to want silverware. I picked mine up at Costco. You can go with plastic silverware as well. And the silverware I picked up at Costco runs around $20 for a set. And one more thing is, don't forget, you've got to have something to drink out of, that water that we talked about. So you can have solo cups. Mike and I have cups here. We do have a few solo cups on hand if we should want them. Again, we're talking a few dollars. The plastic cups are going to run you, the reusable,
if it's a Yeti or a
Stanley, it can run quite a bit. But let's say $30 for your reusable cups, and then just a few dollars for those solo cups.
Well, coming in at number 9 is a really important one. Maybe this one should have been number 2. Toilet paper.
Mike.
So don't forget your paper products. And that's not just toilet paper, but a roll of paper towels is really essential, as you're camping, because, wipe up spills, things like that, especially for that first trip, that you're not going to have, reusable towels, rags, things like that. So we have added all that to our RV, but don't count on your campground, even if you have use the restroom outside your RV, to have this very important stuff. Now, there's a huge debate, and we're not going to get into it. Do you need RV safe toilet paper or not? We use septic safe toilet paper. We never had a problem. In all the research I've done, talking to the RV manufacturer, they say this is just fine.
Well, we have a macerator.
And we do have a macerator toilet, and that helps a lot too. But we're just simply saying what we do. But you need some type of toilet paper, of course, and other paper products for that very first time you go camping. So this is another $5 to $10.
Now, coming in at number 10, and I wish I had something funny to say like Mike does. By the way, friends, I never know what he's going to say on these videos. But number 10 is your bedding. You're going to need a place to sleep, and your RV is not going to come with bedding. Now, I do want to tell you, friends, this is a king-size bed. However, it is an RV king. To me, I call an RV king like a cruise ship king. Surprisingly, king-size beds come in a number of different sizes. And so you have to really measure and know exactly what size bedding you need. The best place I have found to get bedding to fit these unusual sizes is off of Amazon. Again, we'll link our bedding to our RV Amazon storefront. You can see which ones we got. I know they had a whole variety of sizes, but you can take a look there. You're going to want a blanket or a bedspread of some sort. So pillows, things like that. It's all going to add up. Probably budget for your bedding, your pillows, everything around $150 for everything to get your bed outfitted.
Right, and if they have a standard size, if they're lucky enough, like a standard size queen, that may only be $30 or $40.
Oh, then,
but
yeah, then you're golden.
Yeah,
then that's really nice.
the problem is these weird RV kings that aren't a California king, they aren't a normal king, they're, you know, they are weird.
They're odd. But friends, I hope you're liking this video so far. If you are, please be sure to go down there, hit that like button. If you're new to our channel, we thank you for subscribing. We're always welcoming new Phase 2 flock members to our channel. And we'll head on now to number 11.
Well, the next thing you're going to need that's an absolute must, do not roll out of your driveway without checking the pressure in your tires. Whether you have a travel trailer, a pop-up, a fifth wheel, or a motorhome like Gracie, you're going to need a really high quality pressure, tire pressure gauge. Now here on Gracie, you can see the size of these tires. These actually have a rating to go up as high as 110, 115 PSI. You have to air these up based on the load. And there's a chart that Michelin has for these particular tires, and it can vary anywhere from 90 PSI up to 110 depending on the load. You want to make sure you understand that loading, your tire pressure. You know, this isn't like just filling up the air on your cars, and you're going to want a really good high quality tire pressure gauge. So this actually is one that connects to my air hose. They make one that looks almost just like this, that's just a tire pressure gauge. It's accurate down to tenths of a PSI up to 200 PSI. And so you're going to want to get a gauge that can handle the tires on your RV. This is an absolute must. Don't trust that the dealer put the right amount of air pressure in. Check it yourself and make sure you have a really good tire pressure gauge. Now, we wanted to mention a little bit before we go to that final one. As we said, we have an Amazon storefront. If you do click on that, we do get a small little commission. It's really small. We're actually not doing this in any way, shape, or form for that. Mainly, it's really to help and to pass this along. The Amazon list just happens to be a good way to do this. And in fact, we would highly, highly recommend that if you see something like the sewage hose, the tire pressure gauge, water hoses, be sure to look at a local Walmart, things like that. You know, we've bought stuff from Costco and Sam's, and you know, always look to see where you're going to get the best deal, and that's really where you should go. And the Amazon curated list is really good, just kind of as a starting point, so you know where to go shopping. But if you do click through and go and pick something out of our Amazon list, of course, we thank you for that too.
I have a question for you, Mike, about your tire pressure gauge there.
Yes.
Can that connect to, you said it connects to a hose. Can that connect, if you just pull up at the filling station and you want to fill your tires, will that work connecting to the hose at the filling station?
Now, almost all filling stations will have their own pressure fill. So you wouldn't connect your own. The reason I have this one, and you know, I'll show it to you here, you'll notice that this one rotates like this, okay? And the reason I have this one is because with Gracie, she's got dual large wheels in the back, and so the air inflation valve actually sticks backwards, and I have to go turn this backwards like this, put it in, and then pull it back to get it to connect. So this is a special one. We'll make sure this is on our Amazon list if anybody has dually tires. This is the best one I've ever found. And as soon as it goes in, it locks, and you press this little button, you reach in with your finger, press it to release it. So that's why I have this one. But yeah, that's why in the Amazon list right now, we don't have one listed. I don't have this specific one, but it's because Gracie, being an air brake vehicle, has an air compressor on board. And so I can plug this right into an air hose into Gracie and then air up the tires. So yeah, in general, you'd want a separate one, and don't trust the gauges at the gas stations. You never know how much those have been beat up, how inaccurate they might be. Trust your own high quality air pressure gauge.
And to wrap up with number 12, if you have a travel trailer, a fifth wheel, pop-up, anything that's towable, you're going to need a hitch. Yeah,
absolutely. Now, you know, we've been trying to give you estimated costs on these things. A fifth wheel hitch installed into the back of a pickup is going to run you, you know, from hundreds to thousands of dollars versus, you know, if you've got a simple pop-up and don't need a really fancy hitch, don't need any kind of extenders or things to raise or lower it, those can run you, say, you know, $50. So you've got to make sure that you're budgeting how to tow that RV that you're purchasing, because you certainly can't get it to your very first camping site unless you can tow it behind your vehicle. So really that gets us into a couple of bonus items that we want to talk about in these expenses of getting your first RV. And that goes directly to what we just said, the tow vehicle. So RV dealerships are notorious for overestimating the ability of your vehicle to tow RVs. You know, you may have a half-ton pickup and they're like, oh yeah, this will tow this fifth wheel just fine. Well, it might tow it home.
Well, it might tow it empty, but
Yeah.
remember, you're going to be adding a lot of water to it.
Yeah.
You want to bring water along to your campsite.
And weight, food, clothing.
all of that adds up.
You're hauling your poop, you know, your gray water, your black water. So you want to make sure that the tow vehicle you get is very capable of towing whatever it is that you're putting behind it. So really work with, understand those numbers, do some research on how to determine tow weight and tow capability of your vehicle. So, you know, a new, new 3/4 ton, 1 ton pickup may run you $60,000 to $80,000. And so that you may be buying an RV and getting a great deal on it for $40,000, $50,000, and then you got to buy a $50,000, $60,000 truck to pull it because of its size. So make sure you understand that and double check everything that the RV dealer's telling you about the abilities of your vehicle. And in fact, contact the dealer you bought it from, contact the manufacturer and get their ratings so you can really understand that.
I have a question for him. I'm just throwing this out so
Yeah.
it may come as a surprise to you here. Hey, would there be a ballpark estimate on the amount of weight that is typically put into an RV? So like you've got your base weight and then you're going to start adding the water and all your contents.
Yeah.
What's a ballpark amount?
Yeah, well, Gracie can actually carry, because she's built on a Super C truck frame, she can carry, you know, thousands of pounds extra. And that is an amazing question, and that varies completely. But when you're talking about what you're going to put in it, I would estimate at least 500 to 1,000 pounds. You know, for every water is 8 pounds a gallon, right? So, you know, so for every 10 gallons, that's 80. So think about it. If you've got 100 gallons of waste and fresh water, I mean, you're getting close to half a ton.
Okay.
You know, you're getting close to 1,000 pounds of gray, fresh, and black water.
Okay.
You know, so if you're carrying, this is called, well, I don't want to get into all of it now for you guys, but that's why it's so important to understand this. And maybe we'll do a video later, but your cargo carrying capacity, you know, if you're carrying 1,000 pounds of poop and shower water and fresh water, you know, then how much do you really have left for food, clothing, you know, all of that.
Right. Well, that gives them an idea,
Right.
at least a starting point.
Right.
So.
So you really want to watch that too, and that's kind of getting into purchasing an RV, which we are going to go and show the whole purchase decision in a future video, how we came about buying Gracie here and why we bought it. And actually that question was one of them, why we bought what we did versus some other models we looked at, and we looked at a lot. So that's one thing to look at, is that towing vehicle and how much that hitch is going to cost. That's an additional expense right on top of, and it could be one of your largest expenses, you know, on top of buying that RV.
All right, friends, thank you so much for watching. You know, we appreciate each and every one of you, and we will be seeing you very, very soon. Have a beautiful day. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.